Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today, we're going to be going over the unique armor that's been in the game for a while, and it's definitely been a popular one, on and off, depending on like your build. It's called the Raiment of the Infinite, and the Raiment of the Infinite has some pretty interesting effects, and we're going to go over them together. First off, it has a 99 to 135 intelligence, which is pretty decent. It also has 1 to 3 ranks, or 1 to 2 ranks of glass cannon, and can go as high as 3 if you get a greater affix there, with 203 on the intelligence. Now, the problem with glass cannon is that although glass cannon does give you additional damage, it also increases the damage that you take as well, which is rather unfortunate. And the more ranks you have in it, the higher that damage is going to be. As you can see, with 6 ranks, I'm sitting at 12% more damage with 36% damage increase. So it's definitely a kiss-curse sort of option that allows you to increase your damage output at the expense of your survivability. On top of this, it also gives +2 to elemental attunement. And elemental attunement is the critical strikes have up to a 7% chance to reset the cooldown of one of your defensive skills. Can only happen once every 10 seconds. So basically, you can get a free use out of your Flame Shield, Teleport, Ice Armor, or Frost Nova, depending on what you're using. It also has 1 to 2 to Shocking Impact, which is another one of the passives. And that is the every time you stun an enemy, you deal up to 29,773 lightning damage to them. And this, of course, fits in with the special effect on this item. After teleporting, close enemies are pulled to you and stunned for 2.8 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds. But teleport's cooldown is increased by 20% times. So if we utilize this and we were to go outside and play with this real quick, because why not? Let's just go ahead and throw teleport on the bar. Basically what's going to happen is when we teleport into a pack of monsters, it's going to pull them in almost immediately. And once it pulls them in, it's also going to stun them, which can be very useful. Now, I'm not currently using that enchantment, but we can swap to it right now, is the Charge Bolt enchantment, which is when you stun an enemy, there is a 48% chance to release Charge Bolts from them, right? So we're going to go ahead and play around with that real quick, and I'm going to set it up so that when I stun them, I get the Charge Bolts. And let's go ahead and hop into a pack of monsters. We're going to teleport in. Everybody gets pulled in, as you can see, nice and tight. And then on top of that, I stunned them all, so they couldn't actually do anything to me when I teleported in. And that essentially led to a situation where the monsters all died. Also, utilizing that enchantment, the Charge Bolt enchantment, I'm able to get those free casts of Charge Bolt as well, and dish out more damage that way, and as well. The really cool thing about this is that obviously you could pair this up with a lot of different items. Like you could pair it up with Isadora's for the ability to collect all of the beautiful crackling energies. You could also pair it up with something like Oculus, just so that you have infinite teleports and the ability to pull everything in essentially every single time you teleport, which certainly wouldn't be terrible. It's also really nice just to have as a way to pull in monsters. And although you may not be using it as your main jank, it's also there. Another way that you could potentially be using this is by taking the teleport skill itself and putting it down here. This allows you to use your evade as a teleport, which basically means that you can evade multiple times if you have, say, like a pair of boots that has plus evade charges. So you're definitely going to want plus evade charges and some other things, which is actually what the Oculus does. The Oculus gives you a bunch of evade charges, and it also gives you the ability to reduce the cooldown. So in this particular case, with evade, with the teleport as my evade, I can now evade teleport. And on top of that, not only can I evade teleport, but I can also do the regular teleport as well. And I can get both of the teleports running with that suck in and the stuns and everything, which is very nice.
Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Ginger Evil Mentor here. Why bother farming when you can go to MMOEXP.com and simply purchase your items in gold? GGM would have you farm the items. What a pathetic being. Use code GEM Ginger Evil Mentor for 6% off your entire purchase. And don't tell Ginger Gaming Mentor that I was here.
In general, with this particular piece of armor, it is a very offensive piece of equipment. Obviously, it doesn't have very much defensive aspects on it at all, except for the stun, which is probably the only defensive aspect that it has. But even the defensive aspect can be used as an offensive ability by creating a situation where you're obviously creating, say, charged bolts, for instance, which is pretty nice. There's also a lot of different ways that you can add stuns into your build besides this, like Convulsion can give all your shock skills a chance to stun enemies no matter what, and so forth and so on. It's definitely an interesting item. The flavor text on this says, "The power you have is never enough." Sounds like something a villain from He-Man would say. Now, if you did have a really nice triple greater affix of these, or quadruple greater affix of this, you would have 203 intelligence, 3 to glass cannon. You would have 3 to elemental attunement, 3 to shocking impact, and of course you could get up to a 3-second stun from the teleport itself, which is all very nice. In general, this can definitely be a very effective way to add a pull into the build, first off. Also giving you the ability to, just simply stun everything on a regular basis, and getting off those individual charge bolt procs if you're a charge bolt sorceress can be an interesting way to get additional charge bolts by teleporting into a pack. And of course, if they're that close to you, you're probably not going to mess with your charge bolts either, which means your charge bolts are now going to emit little novas and stuff too, which is also really neat. So right here it says, the third time an enemy is hit by a single cast of charge bolts, the bolt surges on impact, dealing up to 121,000 damage in an area. And that's kind of basically what's going on here. Like you basically suck everything in. You can stun them, create the charge bolts from stunning them. The charge bolts then create a nova. The nova does lots of damage, and it's a very interesting little technique. There are many builds that can take advantage of this. And this is the first time ever that you might see an item where having less ranks of something might actually be a godsend. So for instance, if you don't want glass cannon and you really would rather not have high ranks of glass cannon, finding one of these that has maybe greater affixes on everything but the glass cannon, and then has the glass cannon at 1 might actually be a preferential situation, because that way you can reduce the number of ranks that Raiment of the Infinite is giving you in glass cannon, and also reduce the amount of damage that you're taking in the process. It's really kind of up to you. Where can you find this particular unique if you want to get your hands on it? So if you take a look on Diablo 4.life, which is the target farming tool right here, and you click on Sorc, and then you click on Raiment, you will see it comes from Echo of Arshan and Lord Zir. So you can definitely farm yourself a really nice one. I would recommend Lord Zir because Lord Zir also drops the Fractured Winterglass, the Isidora's Overflowing Cameo, and I believe he also drops I'm trying to remember here. Is it Asus? No. It's not the gloves, not the Flame Weavers. He does drop Ice Heart Rise, which is unfortunate. It's not really the best item. Yeah, Staff of Endless Rage. He doesn't drop the Staff of Lama Sam, I know that much. But as you can see, you can farm a pretty decent number of uniques from Lord Zir. It seems to be like his lot in life at this particular point is to have the best drops. I think it was because for a long time nobody wanted anything that came from Lord Zir, and now there's so many good items that come from Lord Zir that everybody's over there trying to farm Lord Zir. And I think that's even raised up the price of the Bloods as well, because the Bloods have been notoriously expensive this season, because obviously everybody's trying to farm Lord Zir. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me as I'm going over items, unique items in Diablo 4. I do appreciate the support and everything you guys do to help out the channel. Speaking of support, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button on the way out. And as always, keep watching.